Hello and welcome to Tracy Momi Reads. I am back again with another video. Today I am going to be talking about Scavenger Hunt by Dani Lamia. Scavenger Hunt. This book was very different. Kinda, I guess, for me, for something I've read. But now that I say that out loud, I feel like just from maybe what I've gleaned from watching half of the movie, but there are movies like The Maze Runner, The Hunger Games that kind of come to mind when you think about there being a competition to get something and then that the winner is rewarded, right? Well, in Scavenger Hunt, it's just as the title implies, there was a scavenger hunt. But what made this book different, and I don't know why they have this like electronic or this like seal on a Kindle book, but underneath there you can't see it, but there's blood in the elevator. So definitely a thriller suspense book. What makes this book different, and there's this family and their last name is Nylo, Nylo, right? Which is strange. But their father built a game empire, like children's games, like board games, as time, went on and technology, it morphed into video games. But family games and entertainment type stuff, that is where they made their fortune, right? And he had 5 kids, 3 sons, and 2 daughters, 5 kids. And every year he would do like this elaborate scavenger hunt for the children, for his children and children in the neighborhood. And that's when the story opens. That's what it is. It's the kid, back when they were kids, they were going through the scavenger hunt. I will say here, just take a sidebar. One of the things that really impressed me, not only like the premise of the story, the pacing and the characters, because every sibling had a different personality, from the, lazy trust fund type all the way to the overachieving type, right? The vocabulary of this person writing this book, it reminded me when I was reading While Justice Sleeps by Stacey Abrams, how I said I had to keep pulling out my dictionary. The words in here, there were some words that I'd never heard of, and when you looked them up, like, they had very simple meanings, but it added to the story and maybe the bourgeois of these rich people playing this game. So their dad dies, and I'm pretty sure that's in the blurb, but he dies, and instead of what everybody thought was going to happen was that Caitlin was just going to ascend to the throne, Alistair would still stay in his position, and life would basically continue for them. They would still get their money. They wouldn't have to really do anything for it. Well, the dad comes up with this thing. He wants to do a scavenger hunt, like a throwback to when they were kids. So initially they were all like, no, this is some bullshit. We're not kids anymore. I'm not doing it or whatever. But there's a stipulation in his will. If they don't all play, then he's going to basically, they forfeit their inheritance and somebody else will take over and the money will go somewhere else. So they pretty much don't have a choice. They have to play the game. So it's very high tech. They all get phones, and they're notified like when the game starts, and clues have been hit. They get clues right on the phone, but there are these boxes that have been hidden at the location where they have to go. Each clue is going to take them to a location, and when they get to the location, they're supposed to use their phone and like put it up against a panel or something on the wall, and it'll light up on the phone and tell them, okay, you're in first place. You're the first person to find it. You're in second place or whatever. And they get 3 lives, okay? So whoever comes in last, you lose a life, okay? But this is the thing. They start off with 3 lives, but before that game even starts, they have the option of using one of their lives to, like buy things that, or buy or trade for things that can help them win the game. I think one of them, she ended up getting subway pass. Somebody else got a helicopter, somebody else got a car, and this is to take them to the different locations that they're in New York. Otherwise, you have to walk. Okay. Then there's also, they got, you could get superpowers, like a key that will open up any door, or you can, be bulletproof, things like that. And they're all thinking it's all just like in good fun, or like this stuff isn't really going to matter. But everybody ends up, except for one sister, they all end up doing the transportation thing because it's in New York and they don't want to have to walk all over the city. So now they're down to 2 lives. And the sister who didn't get transportation, she did do the bulletproof thing for some reason. So she's down to 2 lives. But then they have this brother. He's the youngest of the bunch. He's a wild card. They're always having to get him out of trouble. He does the transportation and he does something else. One of the superpowers, but I can't remember what it was. But anyway, everybody's down to 2 or 1 life, like just out the gate. So they get the first clue, and then you have, until whenever to find it. But if you're last, it doesn't really matter because you lose a life. So they're thinking, okay, no big deal. They end up finding the first clue. And I will tell you, just with the first one, which shows the elevator here, it was something to do with an elevator. And so the brother who did the transportation and the superpower, remember, he only had 1 life. Well, he also came in last place. So you're probably thinking, oh, well, he's out of the game. He just won't get his inheritance. And no, he died in that elevator. So, like, when they say you lose a life, you losing your life for real. So they are totally freaked out because they got it on a live feed as it was happening. They saw on their game phones him meeting his death. So now they are totally freaked out. They're like, no way Dad would have done this to somebody else if they taken over the game. And that is the whole thing. Not only do they start to turn on each other, that they're trying to get to the places first, or at least get there. For one of the things they did work together, because it's like, okay, well, you only got 1 life and I have 2, I'll go last. And they did, 3 of them worked together, but they still were just freaked out by what was going on. So they were trying to find out who the game master was, because it was like it was a scrambled voice, but somebody in real time was giving them the clues. So they were putting their people on, trying to figure out who, this person was and all that. So it was just like so much like adrenaline. Like when you're reading it, you're like, oh my God, is she going to get there first? Or, oh my God, no, did they go to the right room? Did they go to the right place? Like if you're playing in an escape room or something. And so they go through the paces and they get to the last thing. And I just wish that I just didn't have such high expectations for these book endings. When you get to the end and you realize who the game master was and how everything was orchestrated, it just fell flat for me. I was just like, are you serious with this? Because it didn't make sense to me. Even when the author tried to justify the actions and give reasons why it was this person and why one of the siblings ended up working with this person, it all made sense, but it just seemed so unlikely. It was going so well up until that point. I was just like holding my breath, but I had such high hopes. I was so excited. I mean, I flew through this book in 1 day, and then getting to the end, I was like, what? Like, because you never mentioned that person again. There was never any reason to believe that person would do that. I hate when authors do that. Like, I think a lot of times they think they're being clever, but I feel like you're duping the reader. It's not a shock. It's not a twist. Give us something. Like, let that person at least be a suspect, so that you can tie their behavior back to something. It was crazy. It was just crazy. Have you read Scavenger Hunt? Do you know what I'm talking about? That ending? Let me know what you thought in the comments about that, okay? But try not to spoil it for other people. But I mean, if you liked, the fast pace and the, competitiveness of, things like The Maze Runner and Hunger Games, I mean, I think that you will really enjoy this, but I feel like that ending I don't know how satisfied you would be with it. But other than that, everything else was just, it was great. Everything else was just great. I really enjoyed it up until that point. So anyway, Scavenger Hunt, Dani Lamia. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure that you like this video and go ahead and take this opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much to everyone who has already subscribed to my channel. And make sure that you share this video with someone who you think might enjoy my content. Thanks again, guys. Have a great day.